What's up everyone, I'm Dan and big thanks to Konami for the review code for CYGNI All Guns Blazing on the PlayStation 5. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe for more reviews, news and more. Hit the like button if you like the review, and with that said, let's get into this. CYGNI All Guns Blazing is a bullet hell shoot 'em up that pulls no punches in delivering relentless, fast-paced action. From the moment you launch into the game, you're greeted with dazzling visuals, thunderous sound design, and intense gameplay that feels like a true evolution of the genre. For fans of challenging shoot 'em ups like Ikaruga and R-Type, CYGNI will scratch that itch for a frenetic experience, but even veterans may find themselves struggling to survive on its easy mode. The first thing that hits you about CYGNI is its gorgeous presentation. The game's visuals set a high standard for the genre, with explosions, laser fire and alien enemies filling every inch of the screen. Each encounter feels like a carefully choreographed spectacle where the environment and enemies are intricately detailed, offering a visual immersive experience. Whether you're flying over neon lit cities, desolate moonscapes or deep space battlefields, the game's aesthetic pulls you in. The alien bosses particularly are colossal, grotesque and mechanical, with movements and attack patterns that feel more like a cinematic event than a traditional shoot 'em up boss fight. These bosses will often dwarf your ship, their designs taking cues from mechanical horrors akin to H.R. Geiger's biomechanical aesthetic, reminiscent of something from Returnal. Sound design too matches the intensity of the visuals. The orchestral score swells and dips with the action, and though it's not as memorable as some might hope, it certainly helps build tension during the most chaotic moments. Explosions have a satisfying feel to them, rattle the screen and your speakers, while the screech of alien invaders provides an added layer of immersion. That said, there's a notable absence of truly iconic theme tune that players might hum long after playing, a missed opportunity for a game that otherwise nails its presentation. CYGNI distinguishes itself with a demanding and complex gameplay system that will have you sweating bullets literally and figuratively. Unlike some of the more accessible shooters out there, such as Geometry Wars or Vampire Survivors, CYGNI is not content with letting players coast through. Its difficulty is unapologetic, even on easy mode, making it one of the toughest shoot 'em ups in recent memory. Even seasoned players who are familiar with games like Dodonpachi, Resurrection or Cuphead will find themselves challenged. At its core, the game throws endless waves of enemies, both ground-based and aerial, at you. Players must constantly manage switching between air-to-ground and air-to-air weapons, while simultaneously adjusting their shield and weapon power. This system, where you redirect power between your shields and weapons, adds an extra layer of strategy. It's a crucial mechanic, but it takes time to master, especially when explosions and screen shakes makes it hard to focus. The game doesn't hold your hand, and this is evident from the tutorial, which many players may miss entirely on their first run. So my advice is, before even jumping into that first mission, definitely check out the tutorial section. However, the tutorial does leave out some key features, such as the necessity of weapon upgrades to take down tougher enemies and the specific nuances of certain bosses. These mechanics aren't explained fully until you dig deeper into the game, creating an initial sense of confusion and maybe some frustration. Once you get the hang of the systems, managing shields, firing missiles, toggling homing shots and controlling the width of your shot, CYGNI becomes increasingly rewarding. Over time, the gameplay becomes more about optimization and rhythm than raw survival. You start learning enemy patterns, becoming adept at switching between shield and weapon power on the fly, and before long you'll find yourself feeling like a one-person armada. While the game might feel punishing in its early stages, CYGNI is addictive in its appeal. The constant loop of dying, learning and trying again feels very reminiscent of Returnal, where each run is a step toward mastering the game. And it's not just about finishing the levels. Eventually it becomes about refining your skills, beating your high score and pushing through the higher difficulties. In this regard, CYGNI does an excellent job of keeping players coming back. Upgrading your ship is essential, as certain bosses and enemy waves are almost impossible to defeat without the right power-ups. However, the game's progression system is somewhat obscure, with key upgrades being tucked away until you've earned enough of the game's currency by replaying levels. While this might frustrate newcomers, it's a hallmark of the genre, rewarding those willing to put the time in. The satisfaction of clearing a level on a higher difficulty or finally defeating a previously unbeatable boss is immense. Every victory feels earned, as the game's unrelenting onslaught of enemies rarely lets up. For fans of shoot 'em ups, this is exactly what makes CYGNI such a compelling experience. It becomes a game of skill, patience and muscle memory as you work toward perfecting each run. Despite its high points, CYGNI isn't without its flaws. As mentioned earlier, the tutorial and overall pacing of introducing new mechanics can feel frustrating. The game doesn't do the best job of explaining how to handle certain situations, leaving you to figure things out on your own. Additionally, while the visuals are stunning, the sheer chaos on screen can sometimes make it hard to differentiate between what's important. Should you be focused on enemies, incoming missiles, or environmental hazards? In some sections, it becomes difficult to track your ship amidst the flurry of effects, leading to unfair deaths. The lack of a memorable, distinct soundtrack also feels like a missed opportunity. While the orchestral score is fitting, it lacks the kind of standout theme that defines other classics in the genre. CYGNI All Guns Blazing is a bold and exhilarating entry into the shoot-'em-up genre. Its next-gen visuals, intense action, and strategic depth elevate it beyond just another bullet hell shooter. For veterans of the genre, it offers an unrelenting challenge that's both punishing and rewarding. While its difficulty curve and some design choices may put off newcomers, those willing to put in the effort will find a game that's as addictive as it is breathtaking. With its blend of chaos, strategy, and stunning presentation, CYGNI firmly establishes itself as a must-play for any fan of the genre looking for their next challenge. CYGNI All Guns Blazing is out now on the PlayStation Store, priced at $24.99 in the UK and $29.99 in the US. If you've played this one, let me know in the comments below. Hope you enjoyed the review. Thanks for watching, and until next time.